training this month, you just want to think about what what the past few years were, right? So maybe you're new to Legal Shield, and you're interested in this space or whatever, and maybe you just took those trainings. Well, that's great, that's awesome. But I always know that you should always continue to go back after you do the activity. So, but if you've been here a while and maybe look back on 2022, or the last few years, just depends on how far you've been focused on solutions. When you go back to training, and I would say, it's the beginning of the year, everybody has a clean slate. So what I would do is I would definitely, when I go back to these trainings, and I would, especially with my new commitments, but when you go to the trainings, just think about the things you did, say, last year. Maybe you participated in the Blitz, and think about what goals you set for yourself for the Blitz. Was it a certain amount of dials you wanted to make? Was it a certain amount of appointments you wanted to set? Was it a certain amount of DMs or people you wanted to talk to? Whatever your goal was, think about that. And then set those goals for this year. And think about what you could do different to help you to reach those goals that maybe you set for the Blitz. Maybe you work and you can't get on the Blitz. We talk about how, you can set up your own Blitz, but set up some call time. Maybe you set that up with a workout partner on Zoom, and you guys, mute yourselves out, make dials, get the energy because somebody else is with you. But do a Blitz. But think about that. Um, but think about going back to the trainings, and when you go to the trainings, think about what it is that you are looking to get out of the trainings. And what I mean by that is, so with the CDLP training, you know, the platform is always the same. The slides are definitely always the same. So you want to think about, okay, so with your research, how did you feel with your research, right? Um, truckdriver.com, was that beneficial for you? Did you find other means? John talks about several other platforms to use. Did you use those platforms? Um, did you think that your prospects were prospects versus suspects? Did you feel like when you did your research and you made your dials, did you talk to did you get to the DM? Because remember, our hotspot are the smaller companies. And what we learn is that, if we make that dial, 9 times out of 10, we're going to talk to the owner. So were you calling companies that were too big where you had to speak with a decision maker, or not a decision maker, but a gatekeeper? Or you had to speak to somebody that wasn't truly the decision maker? Maybe it was a safety manager. Maybe it was a terminal manager. Maybe it was an operational manager, but they couldn't make that decision. So you find yourself back and forth, back and forth. So just think about what your previous experience has been. And when you go to the trainings, we talk about on some of the slides, we talk about different things. So I would just, open my mind up to different, to what is it that I think would help me to maybe do better prospecting. What type of information would help me when I'm talking to the decision maker from the training, you know. Um, I don't think we're going to have a guest. I'm not sure on next weekend, but however, you know, think about some of the conversations you had with DMs or with gatekeepers when you made the dials. What are some of the things that they asked you that maybe you couldn't answer? Or, maybe your approach, the Lamar Reynolds script. Maybe you need to really cater that a little bit more for you, where it's comfortable that when you call, you don't find yourself really stumbling over what to say. These are the things that, because the information really is the same, you just got to make it fit you. And so if you've done this a couple of times, you should know like what you're struggling with. So when you go back to the training, your mind should be focused enough to kind of analyze the training where you're pulling different things that's going to work for you, things that you're struggling with, things that you maybe didn't understand. And that's just for the CDLP. So we'll talk about maybe level 1. So maybe you work and you can't really make the dials, or maybe you can make some dials, but you really need to learn how to work with the field trainer. Level 1 would do that for you. Level 1 would give you a little bit more posture about the solution space. Maybe you've been a networker. So go to level 1. Marty does a great job with that. He has Jack Soares and Arnold Wapples on there quite often, who gives some great tips. But again, go there with a different mindset of what you need to grasp from that training. Also, on level 2, I would go to that too. I mean, I'll be there. And but when I go, I'm going to pick up some different things. I'm looking for different things. I'm looking for some things that maybe I need to revamp for my business. A lot of people, when I talk to them, people still don't know what the pricing is for group. If you don't know what the pricing is for group, you need to focus on that when you go to training. You need to go to training. And you need to focus on pricing. Maybe you don't know what it takes to start up a group. So when you go to level 2, you need to focus on that. These are the things that when you go to training, don't go just to be in the chat trying to talk about, I see such and such, or that's good note. Take notes. I mean, I see the chat blowing up. People are not focused. I mean, it's Zoom. I get that. And you want some interaction. And they ask for that sometimes. But sometimes the chat is just so, people are asking questions. Focus, pay attention. I promise you, every question that you have, they're going to answer it for you in the training. So, just go focus. But learn the things that you need to learn that maybe is missing in your business, what you were doing, and you think, oh, that probably will help me. Oh, I'm going to try that. It's different when you commit to yourself, write it down, make a plan, but also get some help and clarity with the plan by going to these trainings. So, I was going to say something else, but I forgot. But for the most part, make a plan, put it on paper. And I will say this too, because a lot of people do this. Make realistic goals. If you weren't Performance Club qualified last year, don't be talking about you're gonna be ED next month. You don't know how to get Performance Club qualified. You have to know what the activity takes to get to these goals. And you keep setting yourself up for failure. Be realistic with yourself, and you'll see yourself grow. And it'll become exciting when you can celebrate the small wins. So just stay focused on your commitment. A leader told me one time, don't focus on the right or the left. And it took me a minute to get that. Just stay in your lane. Like I say, if you weren't Performance Club qualified, let's make realistic goals. If you hadn't made 10 dials in a week, don't shoot for 100. Just if you really commit to yourself, and commit to yourself could be just showing up. Like, are you truly making dials like Dunbar socks more than just the blitz, you know, or you just a meeting goer, or you just a training goer and no activity. Let's put some action with the activity. Let's write the plan, make it plain, put some action behind it, and hit some goals. But I will say, go to training just right now while you're excited. It's the new year. Everybody's excited. Clean slate. Everybody's at zero. And then just, just jump into and commit. If you can't commit for 90 days because you feel like, just think about the people at the gym. Today's Monday. Everybody made that resolution. And by Wednesday, everybody's going to start to fall off from the gym. So just think about that. If you can't make a 90-day commitment, make a week commitment. Make a 30-day commitment. But set yourself up for success by making realistic commitments to yourself and see how the year plays out for you. So those are my tips. And I forgot what else I was going to say. So maybe to come back to my 50-year-old mind. But I'll turn it over to Dunbar.
All right, good stuff. So appreciate that, Sherranda, and hopefully you guys can hear me clearly. Right, so really good tip. So when it comes to the training, right, take a different note. Me and Sherranda talked about this earlier about taking a different kind of note. When you make a decision to run your business differently, then you take a different kind of note. And what does that mean? That means that before you go to training, before you attend that Zoom training, write down what's missing from your business so that you can look for that in the training and you can take proper notes on it. Because part of what we're doing is we're overwhelmed. A 4 or 5 hour training is very overwhelming. So for those who take classes and courses and things with me, you guys hear me say it all the time. If you're taking a 3-day class, a 4-hour class, a week-long seminar, that is how long the instructor has to give you the information. That is not how long you have to take it in. You can take that information in as long as it takes you to absorb it. So don't overwhelm yourself by feeling like you have to get it all. So make a note of some things, right? Don't overwhelm yourself. Everybody's overwhelm button is different. So Sherranda may be able to write 10 items down that she wants to get out this training, right? Francis might be able to write just 5. It depends on what your anxiety levels are. So you have to know how many things you can concentrate on, meaning how many things do you want to get out of this training? You may need to take it more than one time. So we talk about taking a different note. I would say if the training is on January 14th, January 11th, 12th, 13th, somewhere in that headspace, I would actually write down what is it that I'm missing out of my CDL business. If you've never taken a training before, then you know what's missing out of it. You don't know anything. So you should say, I'm going to listen to see everything I can get, and I'm going to write things down. If you've taken this over and over again, say, what part of my business am I missing? What am I, when I go to make calls, when I go to prospect people, when I go to follow up, when I'm researching companies, what am I missing? What part gets overwhelming for me? What part of this prospecting from start to finish, where I close the deal, what part of my business am I missing? Whatever part I'm missing, that's what you should be looking for in the next training. And you should take, right, what we say, copious notes on that particular part. And it's okay to not focus as much on the other part because you already know. Does that make sense to everybody? So I want you guys to focus on that because sometimes we're taking notes on the same stuff over and over again that we know how to do. Instead of saying, what am I missing, right? What don't I know how to do, right? Let me get my energy focused on that. Let me take the notes I need to take for that particular thing, right? That's what I want to do. I want to take the notes for that particular thing. So this is what these things are. When I listen for it, right? I get ready. I take notes on all of that. And then, right, you can relax a little bit after that because the next part of the information that may be coming, that may be something, not something that you need to concentrate on as hard. So get what you're missing instead of trying to get the whole 4 or 5 hour training every time it's a whole 4 or 5 hour training. Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense, right? So you got to know if you take a cooking class and you keep taking the same cooking class over and over again and it's showing you how to make a 5-course meal, you may need to look at 1 course at a time. You mean they may need to say, I'm gonna look at it I'm gonna take this class the first time, and I'm gonna concentrate on the first course. I'm gonna take proper notes on it. I'm gonna make sure I understand it. And then you go back and you take that class again. And then you concentrate on a second course, and then a third course, and then a fourth course. So the deal is here, sometimes we've got to know, we've got to take the training more than once. And what if it's recorded? If it's a recorded training, then you don't even have to go and pay and take it again. You can just listen to it. Now, we know what the CDL that Sherranda's talking about, of course, you have to take it all over again. But these trainings we do on Monday, this is recorded. So if Sherranda says something that really piques your attention, you can say, okay, that's enough. And put a 2 in the chat if this makes sense. How many of you all have looked at a training, been involved in a training, and been 30 or 40 minutes into the training and realized that's enough, right? I've gotten enough. Like, this is enough for me to concentrate on and move to the next level. But then you stay and you listen to another 3 hours of training, and now you're overwhelmed and you do nothing. Sometimes you got to know when your shut-off valve is there. You've got to know when you've heard enough to get out of there, because you've gotten enough to get to the next level, and then you come back to the training, and then that gets you to the next level. So know how you take in information and know how you learn, right? So let me transition from that into some things that I wanted to mention as well. So I'm in the process of doing 3 weeks of training on do not procrastinate, right? No, right? How to not procrastinate in 2023. It's free. It's a free training, guys. Some of you guys took it, right? Put a 3 in the chat if you was on it last week, right? It's a free training. I suggest you get on it simply because, right, I'm talking to you no matter what you're doing. It's free information, and it's recorded, and if you register for it, even if you miss it, I'm going to send you the recording. So you can continue to listen to it. But what we're going to talk about tomorrow is going to be creative procrastination. Why am I bringing that up today? Because it's something that you can utilize right here in CDLP. How can you utilize that? When you are making a list of what you need to do, you know what's just as important? What you don't need to do. When you're making a list on what you need to focus on, you know what's just as important is what you don't need to focus on. Some of us need, right, a not to do list, right? Everybody type not to do in the chat. Some of us need a not to do list. And what creative procrastination is about is you understanding that as a human, you're going to procrastinate on something. So if you got a list on what not to do, you can now know what to procrastinate on because you got a list saying you should do it in the first place. Does that make sense? So if you're saying, look, tomorrow morning, I'm going to start my process on having success. Now, I'm assuming that there's a blitz tomorrow. So whenever you do a blitz every Tuesday, if you're saying on this 2-hour blitz, I'm only making calls for an hour because I keep getting distracted with this, that, and the other, and it keeps being a pattern, how about you put on your not-to-do list, don't wipe down my counters, don't wash dishes, don't do laundry, right? Don't go to other websites, don't go to social media while you're doing the blitz. Whatever is keeping you from doing the blitz for 2 hours, whatever has allowed you to miss that blitz over the last couple of weeks, if you said, I've been trying to do the blitz, but I can't get on it. I always forget. It's not on my calendar, right? Something else came up, whatever your excuse is, because that's what it is. It's an excuse. If the reason why you're not getting on the blitz is because you don't put it on your calendar, what should be on your not-to-do list, right? Not putting that on your calendar. So you should look at that list and say, okay, the problem has been, right? The problem has been I haven't been on the blitz because it hasn't been on my calendar. So now we know not to do that. So we know put it on your calendar. The first step in you doing it correctly is taking away those distractions, right? Is you say, guess what I'm going to procrastinate on? I'm going to procrastinate on not putting stuff on my calendar, right? When you say, hey, look, I'm trying to make calls on the blitz, but I see everybody else is making double and triple and quadruple the amount of calls, and I can't take that because I feel so bad because I'm not making as many calls as everybody else that I stop making the calls. Let's go around our not to do list and say, let's not compare ourselves to others. So when we start comparing ourselves to others during that blitz, you can look at that not to do list and say, oh, I told myself I'm not going to do that. Let me concentrate on making my calls because I don't care how many calls everybody else is making. This is how many calls I can make in 2 hours. Is that fair? So we need to have a not to do list that we can look at to keep ourselves in check so that we don't do things that we shouldn't be doing. That is part of creative procrastination. Because there is no way to get away with procrastination, get away from procrastination, because we're human, right? So in the words of Mel Robbins, procrastination is a habit. We can't not procrastinate. The question is, can we replace the things that we're procrastinating on that we shouldn't be with the things that we should be procrastinating? If you are trying to lose weight and you're saying, I should be eating healthy, then how about we procrastinate, right? We procrastinate on eating sugar. How about we procrastinate on eating dessert? How about we procrastinate on doing the things that will hurt what we're actually trying to do, instead of procrastinating on the things that put us in reverse mode? Does that make sense? I have call reluctance. I'm not making my phone calls. That means you're procrastinating on making the call, right? You're not making your list to make your calls. That means you're procrastinating on making the list. So we just want you to take that procrastination and lay it on your list of not to do. So when you get that desire to procrastinate, I want you to say, you know what? I'm feeling the need to procrastinate, right? So what can I do? How about I procrastinate on something on my not to do list? That makes time for me to do some things that I actually should be doing. Does that make sense? Everybody put a point in the chat if that makes sense. So I want you guys to look at 2023 differently and say to yourselves, like, what can I do differently? Not say differently. I need y'all to understand that. Not say differently. Not say I'm going to do something different. Not say I'm going to get senior director this year. Not say I'm going to get to executive director this year. What can you do differently than what you've been doing so that you can get to a different place? Because saying it is not enough. Upgrading your affirmations is not going to upgrade your actions. Is that okay to say? So we can't just upgrade, right? So we can't say I'm doing 30 affirmations and now I'm going to change those 30 to something else, or I'm going to add 10 more and now I'm doing 40 affirmations. That's not an action. That's self-talk. What are you going to physically do differently so that you can end up in a different place in 2024? And that starts by us saying, I've got to at least admit that I'm going to procrastinate because I'm human. But now I've got a list of things that I can actually procrastinate on. So put a 6 in the chat of creating a list of things that you can procrastinate on. Makes sense, right? So when you say, you know what, I probably shouldn't be looking at cat videos for an hour. I probably shouldn't be looking at TikTok for an hour. I probably shouldn't be going down the social media vortex when I'm not making any money going on social media. Put those on your not to do list. So when you have that desire to procrastinate on that. Procrastinate on going on social media for no reason. Procrastinate on telling people happy anniversary that you ain't seen in 20 years. Because they're not going to miss you saying that anyway. That way you can make the time and fulfill the desire to procrastinate by saying, oh, I got me a list of things I can do that with. And now focus on doing the things that you should be doing, that you should only be taking steps in the direction to hit the goals that you said you were going to hit. So anybody that's heard me talk about affirmation in any goal setting training or anything of the sort, my belief is you should not be in the mirror tomorrow morning or tonight before you go to bed saying affirmations that you don't have goals set for. Does that make sense? Right? Put an 8 in the chat if that makes sense. And I know I'm stepping on somebody's toes here, but that's okay. They'll get better. If you're saying to yourself, I'm going to start saying my affirmations on this new BMW, this new Mercedes, this new Jaguar, this new house, I'm going to double the income in my business. Whatever it is that you're saying that you're going to do as an affirmation, if you have not created goal steps to get to that place, then you should not be saying that as an affirmation. Because the affirmation doesn't get the goal. Setting the goal and saying affirmations to follow up on the activity for the goal is what gets you to the goal. Is that making sense? I need y'all to understand that. The affirmation is affirming what you're doing to get to the goal. You cannot affirm yourself to a goal. You cannot talk yourself into a new car. You cannot talk yourself into doubling your income. The only thing that doubles your income is activity, right? The only thing that doubles, that increases your success is certain steps, success steps. That's what does it. You're looking at yourself in the mirror because that's the easy route out. That is you saying, oh, it's easier for me to just talk myself into doing something when that actually doesn't work. It's only going to work for you if you're actually taking steps in that direction. The affirmations will affirm you get there faster. It will affirm you get there confidently. Does that make sense? I see that, George. Execution. I love it. So I'm not telling you not to do affirmations. What I'm challenging you to do is say, I'm only going to say this affirmation if I have literally written down steps to get myself to that place. If I have not written down steps to get myself to that place, then I'm lying about that affirmation. I am not saying an affirmation. I am being dishonest with myself because I don't even have a plan in place to do what I'm telling myself in the mirror. Is that okay? Put a 9 in the chat if that's okay. So I want you guys to, as a restructure for 2023, if you're doing CDLP, if you're saying I'm going to open more groups, don't say you're going to open more groups but make the same amount of calls. Because saying that to yourself in the mirror and making the same amount of calls is not going to double your group. If you didn't open any groups in 2022, you're not going to open up any in 2023 if you do the exact same activity but say it in the mirror more times. It's not going to work that way. I don't care what book you read. It's not going to work that way. Legal Shield, PPLSI, will pay you when you submit paper applications. They don't pay you to set goals. They don't pay you to do affirmations. They don't pay you to go to training. What they pay you to do is submit applications. And you submit applications when you do activity. When you do activity and you submit more applications and then you affirm that you did that activity that you said you was going to do, that means you pat yourself on the back. You have now put yourself in a place where you have done a thing, celebrated the fact that you did a thing, saw the result, liked the result, and decide that I will do this more because I love what it got. Is that okay? Put a 10 in the chat if that's okay. So I really want you guys to understand this because it's way too much conversation about what I'm going to do in 2023, what I'm going to do after the next training, right? Getting excited and raising your hand and saying, I'm going to be the next executive director. I'm going to performance pro qualify. I'm going on that next trip. And then you do all of this commercial type, putting things on a board and putting wherever the next trip is on your phone and saying, I'm going to go buy outfits for this. Guys, you're going to have an outfit that you're not going to wear on that trip. The energy that you're spending buying an outfit for a trip that you haven't won, you should be putting into researching and calling the companies you need to call to close the deal to do the thing. Put 11 in the chat, right? So I just want a different perspective from people because I'm seeing over and over again, I want to change. I'm going to speak a change into an existence. I believe in my God. I believe in the universe. I believe in affirmation. I'm a good person, right? All of that matters on the back end of the activity. You guys remember Jim Rohn saying that? Jim Rohn said, I work hard, right? I work hard, I'm sincere. Working hard and being sincere is not enough. We got to know that by now. You can be nice, you can show up to every meeting, but if you don't do the activity, guess what happens to your business? It stays exactly where it was at last year. So we've got to at least admit that where we're at on January 2nd of 2023 is based on all the activity that we've done thus far. Thus far. So if you're a senior director, if you're an executive director, if you're a manager, right? If you're Performance Club Pro, wherever you're at in your business, right now, January 2nd, wherever you're at in your business, it is based upon everything that you did before today, from the time you got into PPLSI until yesterday. That is why you're where you're at. It's nobody else's fault. It's not your kids. It's not your ex-spouse. It's not your upline. It's not Legal Shield. It's not Jeff Bell coming. It's not Jeff Bell leaving. It is what you did in your business up until yesterday. That's why you're where you're at. And when you admit that and you take that control, guess what that allows you to do? It allows you to change your 2023. It allows you to change your January 3rd, January 4th, January 5th, and January 6th. Why? Because when you say that it's your fault, then now you can control the outcome. Until you do that, right? If I blame it on Jeff Bell, that means Jeff Bell is the only person that can fix it. If I blame my failures on my upline, that means my upline is the only one that can fix it. If I blame it on my children, on my significant other, on my divorce, on my marriage, on me moving, on me doing anything, then that means the only way to fix it is for the thing that messed it up to fix it. But the minute I say, you know what, I'm only a senior director because I haven't done enough work to get to executive director. I'm only Performance Club instead of Performance Club Pro because I haven't done enough work. The minute I do that, the minute I say I haven't opened up a group because I haven't made enough phone calls. The minute I say that, the minute I say I open up one group a month, but I said 3, I haven't opened up 3 because I haven't tripled my phone calls. The minute I say that is the minute that I know that when I triple, that I have the control to triple those phone calls to open those 3 groups. That's the minute that I have the control to say I've never opened up a group and I'm going to open up my first group. When I say that I've never won a Performance Club trip and I'm going to win the next one, I can say I didn't do the work before, I'm going to do the work now, and this is why I'm going to go on that trip. The minute that you take responsibility is the minute that you can make the change, and then you can celebrate because you made the change that you needed to make to get to where you needed to go to. But until we do that, the affirmations are secondary. Until we do that, right? The celebration and the excitement and oh my God, I'm going to the next level, and because somebody else's success. Somebody else getting to executive director does not get you there. That excitement doesn't get you there. So understand and remember, it doesn't matter what the guy next door, what the person that's in the other team that you're excited for, what your upline does, what anybody else does in this business. What's going to get you to the next level is what you do. Bottom line, it's got to be what you do. So until you make the changes that you need to make in your business to move to the next level, nothing's going to change. So, Sherranda, I'm going to go ahead and turn over to you because I got some people jumping in the car now. So you can take it from there. We got 3 minutes left.
Okay. Good stuff. Awesome. All righty. Oh, what I was going to say, I think Dunbar did touch on this. So, like he said, like the replays for the CDLP are recorded. But it's some solutions trainings in the back too. For you, like today they dropped, some incentives, new groups open incentive, but if you don't know how to do your group authorization form and things like that, go ahead and start tapping into those trainings that's pre-recorded back there, because they don't really go into that a lot on the solutions training, but that's important to you, right? If you're going to say, I'm going to open some groups, it's just some things you need to know. So, so, like Dunbar said, today is a new day. If it's procrastination that holds us back from our goals, if it's life happening, whatever it is, just make a commitment to ourselves, to you, to ourselves, what your goal is going to be, and write it down and start it, and tell somebody so you can stay accountable, because we'll let ourselves down. That's really procrastination right there, right? We don't tell nobody, then we say, oh, we're going to do this, and then nah, I ain't gonna do the blitz tomorrow. I'm not gonna do that. You know, so you know, so let somebody, have somebody hold you accountable. I mean, they're not gonna beat you up, but it helps, because you want to run with people who are running. You want to be in the circle of those that are producing or doing the activity. You want to be in the circle of the energy. I'll just say that, and it'll help you to, because if you say, well, I'm gonna do the blitz tomorrow, and you get on the blitz and you see your workout partner on there, and they made 5 or 6 dials, set 1 or 2 appointments. And you say, sometimes, we're competitive and we don't tell nobody, and that's okay. That's some good stuff. So just, I mean, like, for real though, don't compare yourself, but have some good, honest, you know, um, competition, I guess, and you'll be surprised at how you'll getting out the blitz and say, wow, I made $10, I made $15. And when you first started to do it, you procrastinated, right? You started to look on the computer and thinking, oh, I forgot to see what that number was. You procrastinate. Put that pen down and make that dial. So, but anyway, so for those who's gonna tap in the Dunbar's training, tap in, get what you need wherever you have to get it from. All this is a part of growing your business. So, get out to the trainings, get out to or plug into what's gonna fuel you to help you hit the goals. Remember, don't stretch yourself here, yonder, and there. Commit to a path and try to commit to it for a certain amount of time. Like Dummer say, a lot of times confused mind does nothing. So don't confuse yourself. So, um, so with that, we just want to give some encouragement to jump off the year. Hope I see you guys on the CDLP training. It's going to talk about some things, and hopefully you'll come to the training to pick up on whatever information you need. Um, get out to the solutions training. The ones that are in the 3 cities, Atlanta, we're at the end of the month. Then we got Arizona, Dallas. We have 3. So whatever they are, get out to them. Get out to them and get they'll be doing some focus training there. So get out to that and commit to and get the information you need from that. So just wishing everybody the best 2023. Just commit to your goals, whatever it is, commit to yourself. Um, if you need a field trainer, connect with a field trainer, connect with somebody to help support you, and learn how that works, and just do what you need to do for yourself and your business. And just wish you much success for this upcoming year. So with that, Dunbar, that's all I really have to say.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this link real quick in the chat. Um, for I think I am. Am I? Yeah. For this registration for that other training. Again, guys, it's just about procrastinating in general. So just keep in mind, it's not a PPLFI training. It's not a training on any other particular topic or subject. It's just showing you how to not procrastinate in 2023. So hopefully it'll help you. Like I said, some of you guys have been on it already. Was on it last week. We're doing one tomorrow, and then we're doing another one next Tuesday. So that link is in there. Sherranda mentioned Thursday. She mentioned January 14th CDLP certification training. So all of those things are there for you to get plugged into, guys. We're going to go ahead and close out. So we appreciate you guys joining in. Thanks for registering for the new 2023 CDLP sales motivation trainings, and we look forward to working with you guys every week, every Monday at 8:30 Eastern time for an hour. So You guys, appreciate you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, fam.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, it takes 14 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.